Welcome back to Third Phase of Moon. Blake Cousins here. We got a special report for you today. We've got a lot of UFO videos that have just come into my Gmail, and I'm going to be sharing them with you, but we're also going to be taking calls from around the world. The testimony is important. It really doesn't get much better when you get people coming forward telling their personal experience in regards to UFOs, encounters, possible abductions. It gets crazy, but one thing I want to assure you is when I open up the lines, I don't know who is going to pick up. I don't really screen the calls. I don't vent anything. We just kind of take the calls as they come in. They line up, and I just take it. And let me tell you, these are strangers to me. They just want to share their experience. It's on a platform, the world's largest UFO channel on the planet, Third Phase of Moon, and it's my pleasure to do this. It's incredible that people actually have the guts to come forward, and I'm looking at it right now. We got a lot of people lining up. So before we get to the new UFO sightings just in, I want to get to the callers. And if you're joining us on the live YouTube premiere, give us a big thumbs up. And if you want to get notified when we do these live events, make sure you hit that notification bell and make sure you press the all to be notified by all of the uploads we do right here at Third Phase Moon, so you're able to call in. Let me tell you, it's insane what is happening right now, because I got a feeling that something's happening. Something is about to hit big in regards to disclosure, and it's right around the corner. I may be wrong, but I think you out there are feeling it as well. We're on the cusp of something, and people are waking up, and they're more to come forward to share their testimony. This is what it's all about. Let's go ahead. Let's open up the lines, bring the callers in, and let's start it. This is Third Phase of Moon Radio Live. Let's get to area code 254-254. You're live on Third Phase of Moon. How you doing today?
Hello.
Welcome to the show. Where are you calling in from?
Hi, I'm calling in from Texas, Central Texas.
Hey, welcome
to
the
exact.
show.
So I'm going to make this quick since I know you guys do the whole 5-minute thing. But so in one of your previous episodes, you were talking to a guy who had said that he saw a craft that was translucent that basically looked like it was see-through. Well, I happened to see the exact same thing last year, December 23rd at 10 p.m. over here where I currently live. And before that, on the 22nd, this was around 9 p.m., I was outside with my camera just taking night shots at the stars. And I just happened to notice out in the distance on my left that there was a gold disc that just shot up from the ground and then just shot straight up into space. So that caught me off guard, and I got excited. So then I was looking around. I didn't see anything, but when I looked above me, I happened to see the exact same craft, except it was way, way up in the sky directly over my head. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to capture that, but I did capture the thing that happened the next day. So again, this was on December 23rd, 10 p.m. over here in Central Texas. Harker Heights specifically. So I was waiting for my mom and my aunt to come home because they went grocery shopping. So I went outside to go help out because my car was parked out front in the driveway. I went to go grab the groceries from the trunk, but as I was doing so, I got this feeling that something was heading in my direction. So I looked up and to my left, and out of nowhere, almost like, you know, those Star Destroyers in Star Wars, how they pop in and out of hyperspace? This is exactly what that looked like. This thing just came in super quick, just popped in out of nowhere, and it was directly above me and above my house. I live in a 2-story house, and this thing was maybe 3 feet above the roof. And it was slowly flying overhead and just kept going. It didn't. It's not like it wasn't even trying to hide. It was so out in the open. It was so. As a matter of fact, it was so close to me. I could pick up a rock and throw it and hit the underside of it. And that whole time, I had my phone on me, but I was so mesmerized by what I was seeing because I've seen UFOs before, but they've always been at a far distance. This is the closest that's ever happened to me. But for something like that to happen, because for me personally, I think me and my family have been not only visited, but my older brother definitely was abducted. And this was like years ago when we were still in high school. My older brother was abducted. He's got the evidence. Well, I don't know if he has the evidence to prove it, but from what he told me, he was in his room, and then all of a sudden, a very bright green light, like something of a floodlight, was shining through his window, and then everything just went dark. So then after that, he wound up having three circular marks on the back left, I think he said it was the back left of his shoulder, that was in the form of a triangle. And then he definitely had some, and this was more current, he had missing time, like he was getting up, he was up ready to go to work, and as he was about to head to work, everything went dark, and then he basically missed an hour. So then his boss called him, and he was asking, hey, like, if you're going to be late for work, you can, just let me know. But and my brother's like, what are you talking about? I'm not late. Like, and then he told him to look at the time, and so there's the missing time. But pretty much that. Well, also my father has a mysterious piece of metal in one of his legs, and he's never. My dad is a retired master sergeant in the U.S. Army. He's been deployed to Iraq before, but he's never been in combat. He's never been shot. He's never been hit with shrapnel. His job in the military was logistics. And so when he was getting x-rayed, this is after he retired, he was getting x-rayed, and they found this small, interesting piece of metal in his leg. And the doctor was asking him, have you ever had any surgery? Have you ever been injured? And my dad said no. So they don't know how they got there. And then my mother and I, we've been seeing UFOs, like, in my personal opinion, UFO sightings have been spiking like crazy this year alone. And I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon.
You're exactly right, and I appreciate you sharing your story and your experience. I'm agreeing with you. There is an uptick in UFO sightings, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. The rise of technology through private industry, through even our military, they have these high-flying assets, as the president once said. What is it? What's powering it? Who's behind it? What's the agenda? It's probably domination of space, in my opinion, but I believe there is a correlation between these extraterrestrial beings as well. It's interesting that your father has this device, possibly an implant embedded within him, that your family has these experiences. I think it's all connected in a way, and once you have it, maybe family members within a household, I don't know, maybe the beings, these aliens, are interested in your bloodline, possibly. It depends on what type of blood type do you have as well. Some people say it's a certain type of blood type that interests these aliens. It's hard saying, but let me tell you, appreciate that call. This was pretty cool. That was our first caller, and we got a lot more callers. Appreciate that call from Texas. Now, I said I had some UFO videos for you. What I'm going to do is, I think I got 3 of them that have just come in, so we'll share them throughout the radio show. Let's start it out with this. Talking about unconventional.
What the hell? What is that? What is that? What is that? What the hell?
Very bizarre. You could see that this thing just zooms right over the person's head, just like the caller said that he could almost throw a rock at it. And I'm looking at this, and from what Eric said, is that this craft was flying over his garden in very, very close proximity to him. And it's very bizarre. You could hear the concern in regards to the eyewitness, Eric, or they really can't explain what's going on. So can I get you guys' opinion? Do you believe that there is craft right now flying over our neighborhoods using stealth technology, possibly anti-gravity, and they're like maybe revealing themselves? Maybe, like I've titled some UFO videos before. They're not hiding anymore. And look at this video. It's quite insane. This is what it's all about. Third Phase of Moon, taking calls, sharing UFO evidence. It really doesn't get much better than this, and that's why we're doing it live right here at Third Phase of Moon. Let's get to this right now. We even have more callers, and it is my pleasure to bring them in. Give us a big thumbs up if you're joining us right now on the YouTube premiere and for testimony. Let's get to it. Let's go to area code 814. 814, you're live on Third Phase of Moon. How are you doing today?
Hello?
Welcome to the show. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Pennsylvania, and my name is
well,
Kathy.
What's going on? Hey, Kathy.
Hi. I'll keep this brief, as brief as I can. But in the year 2000, my sister-in-law and I were headed to a friend's birthday party. We were supposed to go there and decorate before everyone got there. And we were driving on a dark country road, and up ahead we noticed that it was all lit up, and we thought, nighttime construction. Well, when we rounded the corner, we saw a 300-foot black triangular craft hanging, just hovering over this cow pasture. And we're out in the middle of nowhere, so we pull over to the side of the road to look at this thing. And I remember I rolled down my window. My sister-in-law leaned over me to look out the window. And I remember thinking that if I had a stepladder and I put it on top of my car, that I would be able to touch it, the bottom of it. It looked like black onyx. That's the best way that I can describe it. And it had 3 lights, one at each point, and the one in the front was the brightest. It was what was lighting up the whole cow pasture. And the 2 in the back were kind of a pinkish reddish color. And I don't know what they were for, but we were in awe of this thing, obviously. So we sat there for what seemed to be about 5 minutes just watching it, and then all of a sudden all the lights went out, and bam, it was gone. It took off in like a sideways motion, not straight, or back, or it just went sideways, and it was so fast that it was gone. It was incredible. Well, after it left, I don't know how to explain it. It was almost like we were coming out of a daze, but all of a sudden I hear my sister-in-law screaming, let's go, please, let's go, and she was crying, and all of a sudden I was hysterical too. And I usually leave my keys in the car when I don't plan on getting out of the car. I leave them in the ignition. And I went to start the car, and the keys weren't in the ignition. They were on my lap. And that was weird, okay, but we decided to go on to the party because it wasn't too far down the road, and maybe there would be a couple people there. And we were scared. So we went to the party, and lo and behold, it was in full swing. And we also noticed that it was a lot darker, too. And we had about an hour and a half of missing time. So the next day, I'm with my mom and another friend, and we went to the beach, and I was telling my mom and this friend about what happened the night before. And all of a sudden, I looked down on my upper right thigh. There was a bloody bump. There's blood around this little bump on my thigh that I'd never had there before. And so I was like pushing on it, and I'm like, oh, there's something in there, and it hurts. And I pushed on it, and all of a sudden out pops this little piece of metal. It looked like metal. Anyway, it was hard. It was kind of in between metal and a rock because it was real dull if it was metal. And my mom said, I was hysterical, and my mom said, well, wrap it up in a napkin, put it in your bag, and we'll ask your father when we get home. My dad was in the Air Force, and he had some experiences of his own, like the caller before me, was talking about his father. Well, so that's what I did. We went in for a swim. I get out. I go to look for this thing in my bag because we're leaving. It wasn't there. And this is a small beach, and there was only another family on the beach, 2 adults and a baby, a little child. And they hadn't seen anyone, and they didn't take it. So we don't know what happened to it. But still to this day, I have a bump there. And I almost feel like there's something still in it because every once in a while it will hurt, it will break open, it'll get red. It's just really strange. And when I asked my doctor, what is this? He said, well, it feels like scar tissue, like something was in there. It feels like your body's built up scar tissue. And ever since then, my sister-in-law, she doesn't like to talk about it. That's how frightened of it she is. But fast forward 15 years later, I talked her into reporting it to MUFON, because I figured, okay, we'll report it, then we won't ever have to think about it or talk about it again, because over the years we've had nightmares, anxiety, panic attacks, you name it. It wasn't a pleasant experience for us by any means. And, so we reported it to MUFON, and ever since then, though, I've been having times where I'll have periods of missing time and strange dreams. And just a couple days ago, my husband, and I caught something, a bright orange ball of light, hovering in front of our house, and then it kind of went over our house. And I have that on video. But, it's like nonstop with me. And, that's my story.
Wow,
it's
Kathy,
kind of crazy, I know.
This is amazing. Appreciate you sharing your experience. This is insane, because this TR3B, and speaking of TR3B, I have a video that I'm going to be sharing with you here in just a second in regards to the TR3B, a recent capture in the past 48 hours. We're going to get to that. But one thing, Kathy, this is insane, because just like the previous caller, your father has experienced things. Now you have this, and he said that you could basically throw a rock up at it. You're that close to this thing. Very, very intense, because my brother and I, along with a few other eyewitnesses, had our own TR3B encounter. And let me tell you, the people that were there, they were in basic shock as well, just like your sister-in-law, if I'm not mistaken. But Kathy, you say this thing is continuing to happen. Did you upload this video you just spoke of to YouTube yet?
I haven't, no. I haven't done that, no. I will, though. I mean, I just have to figure out how to do it. I'm not, tech savvy by any means. But I also wanted to tell you the reason why we didn't get this on, camera or video in 2000 was because obviously I remember having those little Nokia phones where you had to, it didn't have cameras, and she had the same kind of phone. We didn't have cameras on our phone then. But, obviously she can, when we reported it, the MUFON investigator said that he has no doubt that we saw what we saw. And, she remembers that we got out of the car. I don't remember that. She remembers that we were standing under the craft, and I don't remember that. So there were a lot of things that were the same, but he said it wasn't matchy-matchy. And, it's weird, because her and I had never talked about it. We never really sat down and talked about it. It was almost like, it's strange. It was almost like we never thought to sit down. I mean, we talked about it, but not sit down and, like, what did you experience, And her asking me the same thing. It was just really all really very strange. Did you guys experience missing time, though, when you saw your...
that's a very good question. It happened, and the experience lasted for about 4 minutes when we first saw this triangular-shaped craft descend down upon us, and at that point we didn't know what was going to happen next. And then it just hovered there, and then there's these lights swirling around it. We're like, what's going on? Everybody's screaming, actually screaming like little girls, to be honest. We're just so excited. And what happened is that it descended down and then slowly traversed towards Waipio Valley. So we watched it and then moved, and watched it go towards the valley in a northeastern direction. But after this, the people that were there, some of the people changed their lives. They got a haircut, they got a job, they cleaned up their act. I don't know, something changed them. But we don't recall any missing time, but it's not very unusual. Just like the first caller, there was missing time involved there, and the keys that were found in your lap is bizarre.
Yeah, it is bizarre. Just a lot of things happened, and for a long time, and my sister-in-law, we had told our friends, and of course you get the kind of side eye, like, yeah, right, especially, back in 2000, it wasn't accepted as well as it is today. And we had told them, and then my sister, they didn't react to it well, so obviously. And even though they know us to be truthful, they're like, okay, that kind of thing. But my sister-in-law just said to me, we are never talking about this again. And we didn't for 15 years. It took us 15 years. In 2015, we came forward to MUFON.
Kathy, let me ask you this, Kathy. Would you,
Sure.
it's a little much to ask, and it's the ultimate bravery, in my opinion, but maybe we could even do a follow-up with you, do some kind of documentary with you and your sister's testimony, and go back in time and explain exactly what happens, and we'll put this in a kind of a documentary format. You think yourself and your sister would be up for that?
I'd have to ask her, because like I said, she came forward and she reported it to MUFON with me, but MUFON had me on MUFON radio and a couple different things, interviews and things, and she didn't want any part of it. She's like, I'll listen, but she said, I don't want to talk about it. I think she's afraid to talk about it because she remembers a lot more than I do, obviously, for whatever reason, and it really traumatized her. But I can ask her that. I mean, I wouldn't mind, doing whatever I can for you, but I would have to ask her. Yeah.
Okay, Kathy. Well, we got your contact information. My brother just took down your number, and we're going to get back in touch with you. This is going to be exciting. Appreciate you calling in, Kathy.
Yep, thanks. Have a good night. Bye.
You too, and watch the video that we're posting up right here on the YouTube Third Phase of Moon premiere. You're going to be looking at this TR3B that we're going to be putting up. I want to ask you
if it show.
Leave a comment.
So, I love your show. I don't miss it. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. We'll be talking to you soon.
Okay.
Okay. This is great. Two callers. What's amazing is their experiences are so similar. Missing time in close proximity. Things found within the body. This isn't a coincidence, people. This is real life. If you think that this is just a figment of people's imaginations, then you got to ask yourself, how did this lady, Kathy, experience the exact same thing with another person? It's not a mass hallucination. There's physical evidence as well. Missing time, this is a phenomenon that we need to get down to the bottom of it. And speaking of phenomenon, I got another video for you that I want to share with you. And I know everybody's talking about this TR3B. Well, guess what? This was captured in Park, London, in the UK. Captured by Jaff All Sports of Vids. He's got a YouTube channel. We're going to be supplying the original link, but take a look at this.
God knows what that is. Blood clot that's coming out in the air and shit. Hey, relax. Shh, relax, man. Don't get scared, man. Don't get scared. Listen, yo. I think it's the RAF. Listen, Jaffa. I think they picked up the stuff from Turkey today, innit? It's RAF, man.
Why are they moving in a triangle then?
Because they're coming in a squad, innit? Squad.
We're looking at it right now, and this is incredible footage, and we're looking at it, and it definitely resembles a TR3B. You can tell that there is a little hesitance of caution from the eyewitness themselves. They're in shock. They're a little worried, and this is kind of how I felt when my brother and I witnessed the TR3B. Kathy, the caller, she said they were terrified. The caller before that from Texas, they were terrified by witnessing this craft. If you're looking at this, it's the exact same kind of hesitance, that just don't panic kind of feel. And right now, I am much of a believer that there's some kind of energy that is put off by this triangular shaped craft that resonates through the area. It makes the air static, and it causes this reaction of just shock and awe, where you just really can't even go for your phone sometimes, because you're just like, oh my God, what is this? When you do see these things, resist that urge of just not doing anything, because when we filmed the TR3B, this was 10 years ago. The camera equipment, it wasn't night vision, so you really couldn't see anything, but my brother was shooting up at it. He did manage to capture it, but it's on a mini DV tape. We're going to have to go back to that mini DV tape and transfer it digitally so we can maybe enhance what we shot 10 years ago of the TR3B. But this is an incredible capture, and I appreciate Jaff All Sports of Vids for sharing this video with us. It definitely resembles the TR3B. This happened in London, if anybody witnesses these things or filming it, just upload that video to YouTube. Copy paste that link to my email. It's in the description of every upload we do. I want to see your videos. All right, guys, we got even more callers calling in, and I got one more video for you coming up in just a bit. But let's open up the lines. Let's go to area code 707. You're live on Third Phase of Moon. How you doing today?
Can you hear me okay?
Got you loud and clear. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Mendocino, California, Mendocino County, the same place where that guy that called in that had the abduction scenario when he was a boy.
That's right. You know, I've been trying to reach out to the Sheriff's Department in Mendocino, the Boys and Girls Club at Mendocino, and even, I think, the Beacon, the newspaper out there in Mendocino, to try and find out what happened to those missing hikers that, well, they went missing for a few days. Kenneth Pass called in. We did a documentary on his story. What's going on over there in Mendocino? You got to...
Yeah. Yes. Well, I wanted just to tell you briefly about my encounter and that the whole place, the Mendocino County area, and is basically part of the Emerald Triangle. And the Emerald Triangle is Mendocino counties, Trinity counties, and then it's Humboldt counties. And those three counties make up what's known as the Emerald Triangle. And it's where pretty much 3/4 of the world's, marijuana is grown. And so, yeah. Anyway, and so I have had extremely bizarre paranormal experiences since moving here. And I'd just like to share one.
Well, let's hear one of them.
Okay, so it was a couple of years ago, and there was a electrical storm that was coming in from, far off, and, the sun was starting to go down, and, just a typical evening, and this electrical storm, this, highly charged, whole big set of clouds came right up to the edge, just to the edge where you could see it, here in Mendocino County. And anyway, so the electrical storm was going on. There was no rain and no thunder anyway, but just a little bit of lightning here and there. And so me and my friend, we were, it was a nice evening, so we decided to go out for a little walk. We went out for a walk, and, as soon as we get out there, I could, you kind of feel and sense the strangeness. There was an oddness to the air. And, I listened to some of Jacques Vallée's, reports talking about the different, things that happen when there's a UFO experience occurring. The different things that happen from blinking lights and synchronicities, things like that. Anyway, so me and my friend are out on the roads out there in the back roads, taking a little walk in Mendocino County, and as the electrical storm progresses, I look back behind me, and I see this huge, ginormous ball orb. And it's right up by about the power line level, about that high, not very high off the ground. And, instantly I'm mesmerized by it. I'm looking at it, and there's a few houses, a few trailers out there. And I noticed one trailer had the door open, and there was a guy standing out watching the same light that I was watching. And anyway, so me and my friend were like, wow, check that out. And it was pretty strange for us. It was a very bizarre feeling to the air. That's the best way I can describe it. There was a very paranormal essence to it. And this county is very much like that. There's a lot of different tales to have. Anyway, so as me and my friend progressed, there was this kind of a fog and a mist that happened. And, me and my friend were walking into the mist. We walked into a little ways. We saw what we thought. I started to perceive what I thought was a ginormous being, like a giant. And I said, wow, do you see what I'm seeing, my friend? And he says, I think I do, and we both said, I'm seeing a giant at the same time, and so we both knew we were seeing it. And just about then, we got really freaked out, and I started to bolt. We kind of walked quickly and then stepped into a run, and got out of there. But, because we definitely felt it was a very strange feeling. So anyway, that was one of my paranormal encounters for Mendocino County. to give you just a brief summary.
Yeah, Mendocino, it seems like it's a hot spot. And like I said, we're trying to get down to the Kenneth Pass mystery. What happened to those children and the staff members? 7 of them were taken, and they went missing, and there was an incident. And we're trying to find out. Like I said, I left messages with the Sheriff's Department, the Beacon. You know what? I'm not getting any calls back. It's very interesting. But you got to check out. There's an interview happening today, a follow-up via Michael from Dark Hour Paranormal. He's going to have Kenneth Pass on, and he's got a lot of questions for him. You're going to hear a lot of new detail. It's going to get exciting. So check out Michael at Dark Hour Paranormal. He's got an interview coming up with Kenneth Pass today. So that's some exciting news. Like I said, I got one more video for you. I appreciate that caller from Mendocino trying to, bring it all together. Maybe there's something going on, the hot spot. I got this video coming in from Brad. He says, check this orb out. He says it's conventionally physics, but his buddy shot it yesterday in Malibu Hills. We're looking at it right now. What is this? It's in broad daylight. It's an incredible orb. And this is what I like about these orbs, these broad daylight sightings, is that we're actually able to look at it closer, slow it down, get a good shot of it. And I want to thank Brad from LIPP Pterodactyl for sharing this. He says it's very interesting, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. That's why I'm appreciating everybody joining, because you guys could give us your opinions too. Is this some biological organism? Is it electric a phenomenon like a ball lightning, and it just lasts a certain amount of time? This thing seems to do some erratic maneuvers as well. Almost like paranormal activity too. I don't know. Are these spirits? I'm not exactly sure, but it's very interesting, these orbs. And I love this one because it's pretty close, and the guy manages to capture it pretty well. Good job, Brad. Appreciate that. I want to thank everybody for joining us right here on Third Phase of Moon. This radio show is blowing up. It's some of our most popular videos on Third Phase of Moon due to the fact that we're sharing UFO videos, taking the testimony from the public. Like I said, it really doesn't get much better than that. It's kind of like going back to the old school radio, but in a new way. With the digital era, we're able to put this together, edit it as fast as possible, and get it up right away on YouTube Premiere. This is insane stuff. Like I said, if you captured anything amazing in the skies, upload that video to YouTube, copy-paste that link to my email, and we'll take a look at it. I want to thank everybody in the chat that's been participating today, and all the incredible support from the Super Chat. You guys rock. Everybody, keep your eyes on the skies. Be safe. Blake Cousins. We'll see you real soon.